this back. See, now this is, see how this is really thin? So tell them I'm going to cut below the pato de gallo because there are, no, there's no vegetative buds. So that's got to go. See, we're going to come in and cut it back here. See, there's vegetative buds. There's the pato de gallo.
Abajo de la pata de gallo. Abajo
Below.
del anillo.
Because, see, tell them this branch is weak. So I don't want to leave it too long.
Una rama delgadita. Se tiene que hacer más abajo.
Okay, there's the pato de gallo just a little bit above. That's too long. See, look what's happening to this branch. You see how this branch is now coming out and laying down? Now, and you see, here's another a mistake that was made. You see, it's understandable that this happens. Tell them this, Fernando. But when this branch was cut, rather than the buds being like this on the shoot, like this, they were like this. And look what happened. The bud that was pointing out into the row has grown out and is now laying down and putting weight on this. So now, look what's happening. We have division, but the branch is now fruiting out here, not back there. So all the weight's out here and it's going to start coming down. So I have to take corrective action. Tell them that. Bud position, very important.
Cuando se hacen los cortes, especialmente ya haciéndose ya arribita, no tenemos buena visión de la orientación de donde están esos botones, pues va a ocurrir eso. Va a ocurrir eso. Ahí dio el resultado de que uno de esos botones resulta que iba para abajo, otro para arriba, en vez de que estuviera así, ¿verdad? Horizontal, para que se mantenga balanceado. Entonces ahora pues con la rama de abajo se va a cargar mucho con la fruta de este lado, y entonces ahora se tiene que corregir.
So now, unfortunately, I have to destroy the division, because if I leave this, it's just going to get heavier and heavier and lay down. Now watch happen. See, I'm going to show you why this is important. Watch what happens. Now look at the branch. Now I've created a snake, a big long snake, and it's not going to shake anymore. So now I got to come in and stiffen it up. Now I could cut it here, but look, there's all sorts of little batons there. I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut it here. Now I've stiffened it up. Yes, I have over pruned the branch, but I had to in order to keep it upright and make it shakeable. Explain that to them.
Entonces teníamos la B acá de este lado, ¿verdad? Esa rama que estaba creciendo muy para abajo, añadiendo peso a esto. Pero entonces al cortar eso, ya entonces tenemos solo una culebra, un palo muy largo, que no se sacude bien. Entonces ya al tenerlo muy largo se recomienda pues bajarlo para acá para que sacuda mejor.
Okay, see, what kind of cut was this? What kind of cut was that?
Oh, pata de gallo.
Paso de gallo. Yeah, yeah. See, so mucho ramas, and then look, mucho fruta. So lo siento, corta, but I have no choice because it's going to get out here, it's going to lay down, and it's just going to go like this when you shock el árbol. So, okay, here, and also notice, Fernando, see, there's batons there, so this could grow if I needed to. If I don't need that growth, then I could come in and actually, I could actually cut it there. In fact, with this branch, I am going to do that. I'm going to cut off those buds. Why? Because it's already so long that if it gets any longer, it'll be right back where it was before. Okay?
Yeah. Primero lo hizo el corte larguito con la idea de usar los botones nuevos, ¿no?
All right, you win.
Luego piensa que para que no se ponga esa rama más larga, pues lo va a bajar más acá abajo. Y entonces lo que sigue creciendo son las ramitas que ya están. En vez de
I didn't want to do that. Son of a bitch. All right, well, it's done now. I'll have to send you $5.
Well, you certainly stiffened it up, though.
Yeah. Okay, and then here.
Bueno, pero la intención era esa.
Sí, en realidad.
There's quite a few buds on this tree. Let's see. One that I missed.
On this main,
Excuse me. Okay. All right, so
on this main, would you have another pata de gallo? Acá, with the same that one?
this one here. No, Fernando, there's a lot of flower buds up there, and it's upright. It's gonna shake real good. That's the money right there. But there's a lot of money up there. I'm not gonna touch that. Instead, I'd be looking for another cut, maybe out here like this one. See, because this one's actually gonna lay down. Look how, you see, it's leggy.
Yes.
It's leggy. And I can save the division. If I leave this, it's gonna fruit up here and bend it down. So, there. Stiffen it up. And the same thing here. This is too long. Get rid of that bottom one. And see, it goes on. And see here, no division. This isn't going to shake too good, so you see how I'm shortening the branches with the intention of pushing the tree back and up and stiffening the limbs, each individual limb, so when the tree is shook, the nuts come out. Make sure they explain that.
Bob, did you say that this tree has quite a few mummies on it? That was probably partially due to the pruning and not having the limbs stiff, upright and stiff enough.
Well, Joe, this was a bad year for pistachios, and a lot of this stuff turned out to be, I don't know, I wasn't up here, but Ray and Nick, but did you have on April 7th and 8th, did it get real hot up here?
Yes.
And then come 12 and 15, it almost froze? Yeah, well, this is the result of that, because, and again, I don't want to go into another big long sermon, but I just want you to remember one thing here. When you're farming pistachios, you come out here in the springtime, and you see those little tiny pine cones, those things, I just want you to think about mom just having given birth to one of your precious children, and she's holding that little baby in her arms. And if she didn't have mama, she'd be dead. Those little tiny flowers are very, very sensitive. And you don't want to be disking, you don't want to be spraying. You get crap on the little stigmatic surfaces and you can affect fruit set. And then when you have this hot and cold spell, well, the pollen that lands on that little stigmatic surface, it has to grow down in 2 days. No more than 2 days in order to reach the egg to fertilize. And if it got super hot, it could have desiccated the little floret, or it could have desiccated the pollen grain. And so you wind up with blank nuts that look like they're filled during stage 1, but there ain't no kernel in them during stage 3 because they never got fertilized. So now you've got crap hanging on the tree that largely is either blank, or you took the early fruit out of the equation by the cold weather. The fruit got set and then it got cooked. So half of the marathon runners started off on the path on the Sacramento Marathon, and they got down the block, and then the police went out and arrested them all. Said, you ain't going any further. So the other marathon runners, they start off, well, do you think the clock started over for the other marathon runners? No. They got to keep running. So their time isn't the same as the early marathon runners, it's later. So they don't mature in time. So they're green when you go to shake them.
We were making notes on bloom dates, and I think a lot of those orchards were blooming for like 6 weeks. From start to finish.
Long time.
They started, and you get a little bit of bloom, and then you think like, oh, in 2-3 weeks it'll be about done, and then 2 weeks later you go out there and just a little bit more. And then we had I think we had 3 frost events. One was pretty early, and but we had like warm early February,
lot of
and then we had
rain.
the frost that messed up all the almonds.
Right.
And then there was 2 more frost events after that that were lighter, but I think they.
Yeah,
really
no
hurt the
wonder they're all
pistachios.
screwed up.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, and you
a
see,
wicked spring.
this is why I love trees so much. Because all of these things to farmers that are busy filling out their use reports and going to get their PCA, their applicator's card and paying the bills and worrying about, somebody cut their finger and they got to fill out a report. They're not out here looking at what's going on and enjoying the majesty of what's actually occurring. Because the more you watch, the more you learn. And that's why these guys, when they're out pruning, they're watching each other, and somebody says, hey, Daniel, come over here, I'm going to do this. They go, oh, no, don't do that. Well, why? And then he makes some explanation, and so from that day on, he doesn't make that cut anymore. So that's why you got to be out during bloom, watching, and making notes of stuff, because this year was a very bad
Yeah,
pistachio.
we even had the bloom, like the pollinators, and even some of those buds were opening up in the middle of summer.
Yeah? Yeah? Oh, now they were all screwed up. And part of that, Nick, had to do with the fact that those events burnt, in my professional opinion, they burned up carbohydrates, because respiration, which is what I'm doing now, okay, I'm burning up those potato chips that I had for lunch, okay? And when you run, you burn up carbohydrates. The tree's the same thing. It turns hot. Respiration is linear. So the hotter it gets, the more it's breathing and burning up food that is really needed for making fruit. So it's like taking a person that isn't fed enough and putting them on the treadmill and making them run when they need that food to stay alive. They don't need it to burn off their potato chips. And the same thing with the pistachios. They burned up enough carbohydrate that they couldn't push all the bloom. And when the leaves finally came out, what are the leaves? That's the solar system. When the solar system came out and made food, now all of a sudden the bloom's starting to occur.
Now, what about the male trees? Is this going to be a different?
Oh, we've had a fantastic, so far it's been fantastic on the cold weather, Ray. So we're looking good now, bro.
What about pruning?
Well, those males they need more heading cuts. Okay, one thing I want to show you now. Okay, so do you have pruners all season long, or these guys come and go?
They're not around all season. It's just mainly till February and we're done.
And then you're done. Okay, well, then you're going to probably have to prune the boys just the way they are. And you have inline emitters here, not buttons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here, I'm going to show you something. All right. You see, okay, you see this little bud right here? You see that? Okay, if you cut here, this bud, even if you did it in May, if you cut to that, this bud has the little preformed shoot in it, and it will produce a shoot with flower buds for next year. Now, on real vigorous males, where I have pruning crews in the valley, I tell them on trees like this, no, we're not going to prune the males. We're going to use all the pollen we can possibly muster to fertilize the girls, and then immediately after fruit set, which is about the 21st of April, when the trees are about 50% leaf expansion, I then come in and I prune the males. And I've done this up until the 1st of May or so. And when I prune, I tell the guys to make big cuts. Like here, I say I'll make a cut and cut all the way back to here. Because this little La Chica Rama will then grow and produce flower buds for this coming 23 year, and I will not have lost flower buds from this branch. So you prune back to these nubs, and that forces growth again, back and up.
So you wouldn't prune these things in the winter? Your preference would be to wait until May to prune these?
Well, if you had workers, but if you don't have workers, that's the same thing Lance and I talked about. He said, "Oh, I ain't got any workers in May." He said, "You guys live large down in the valley." I said, "Well, okay, well then, okay, so you want to know how I'm going to prune this. All right, first, now gentlemen, let me ask you, what does La Macho do? What does he do?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got to make sure he's got plenty, right? He's muy fuerte. Okay, so I'm looking at all the flower buds, and so I'm going to start cutting back to the flower buds. Now see, there's the knob. Okay, now here, same thing. Knuckle cut in order to force that into this. Here. There's flowers there. Cut back to that. Cut off this. There's a, I'm gonna tip that. Okay, I'm just coming around the edge to compress the canopy. See, this is coming out too far. That's going up. I don't want to lose the division, but there again, see, that's the baton that came out flat. So I'll come in. I'm going to cut it. Oh, there's my nub. I'm going to go for the nub. Here, this is coming out looking for life. Well, there's flower buds there. I'll cut it off here. Okay, this is, you see how, it's just growing long and looking for life. See, I don't want to cut this off because I make a snake. But I've got the growth up here. I'm going to come in. It's going to lay down. I haven't got time to think about it any longer. This is junk. Well, I could save it here. So, as you can see, I'm not being real extra careful with the boys because they don't deserve it. They're just going to grow like weeds anyway. There's buds there. It's getting too flat. Here, knuckle cut. See, this is way too long. It's going to come in. And, oh, there's a bud there. Cut that. Okay, this was coming flat because this is in the way. This got left. So we're going to get rid of it. And make the knuckle cut out of it. Give it some room. Save some flower buds here, even though they're whipped. Just save them. This is too flat, gonna hit somebody in the face. This is stacked on top of this. But it is further back. And I don't want to bring it out any further. I've got this division and I have that division. I'm going to come in and get rid of this one. because it's further out. And then I'm gonna cut this back. And here, there's a bud there. This is leggy. There's vegetative buds there. Here, cut this back. This is laying out. This is junk. This whole branch here is junk. We have a saw. That needs to go. No saw. Okay.
Bob, unfortunately, I have an appointment I have to get
Okay,
to.
Joe.
I appreciate.
My pleasure.
Yeah, good to see you
Yeah.
again, and always informative.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate the compliment. You have a Merry Christmas, my friend.
Likewise.
Okay, so this is junk. We're gonna get rid of it.
It's quite a workout. Mucho trabajo.
Okay, so here, see how leggy this is getting?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stub this. And now this is coming out and infringing on the girl's territory, so I'm gonna push it back into here. Girls take priority. Same thing here. Backing up. Push it backing up. Okay, and then we got the top.